I would like to inform, unfortunately, Mr. Shyam Jagannathan had to travel to the Ministry of Shipping, Delhi, for an urgent assignment that he had been deputed, so he is not present with us. But we would like to take this opportunity and honor to invite the next esteemed speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for Captain Anish Joseph, Deputy Nautical Advisor, Senior Deputy General of Shipping, Concord. Also, I would like to tell you about him. Director General of Shipping, Government of India, Captain Anish Joseph is a committed maritime professional with nearly 29 years of diverse experience in the shipping industry. He is a qualified master. He took command of merchant vessels early in his career and has continued to contribute meaningfully to the maritime sector ever since. Captain Anish holds a Master of Science in Maritime Affairs from the World Management University, Malmö, Sweden, where he graduated with distinction. His academic excellence was recognized with the prestigious Kalmar Prize, awarded by WMU on behalf of Kalmar Global for demonstrating leadership among his peers. He has been serving the Government of India for the past 9 years. In his present role at the Directorate General of Shipping, he contributes to the development and implementation of policies within the nautical wing and oversees key areas including safety of cargo under the STCW framework, maritime security, international cooperation and offshore operations. Outside his official responsibilities, Captain Joseph is passionate about technology and has independently pursued interests in web design and Linux server administration. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for Captain Anish Joseph? Okay. Presentation, it's there.
Respected dignitaries of the dais, ladies and gentlemen, fellow seafarers, cadets, it gives me immense pleasure to be representing the Directorate General of Shipping. And let me also take this opportunity to comment on Captain Shaukat Mukherjee, the Naval Connection and Technology in Maritime for their 5 years. So, when I was sitting here, I just want to try and give a brief, a kind of a analogy, a story which I am part of, and a kind of when we spoke about technology in maritime, it just brought me a few nostalgic memories. And this goes back to the time I was a cadet like one of you. I was on my first ship, and we came to know that boxes arrived on the ship, and there is a new PC which has landed on the ship, which was being set up. And the chief officer came to the mess room and asked, who among you know to operate a personal computer, a desktop computer? And incidentally, those days, a desktop computer used to work on the Windows operating system on something called MS-DOS. There was no mouse. And the basic concept of a computer was just to do paperwork. And we fast forward to a conference, something like this, where we have heard the stalwarts, we have heard the experts talking about AI-driven technology and future, and also I am actually quite overwhelmed. And moving forward, the technology, and incidentally, let me just complete that part of the story. So I raised my hand, and the reason I knew little bit of computers was because my dad's office had a computer, and there used to be a game called Pac-Man, and I used to always go and play that game. And so I learned how to work on MS-DOS and so because of that, I became the most important person on the ship after the captain. So I was given a lot of relaxation in those days. moving forward, and I just find myself about a month back, an order has been issued, and I've been made the head of IT and e-governance. Incidentally, I'm not new to IT. Slide is not. Okay, now it's, yeah. So, like I mentioned, I am not new to technology because I myself had a passion for IT, and I do web designing. I have developed websites, for example, for the Seafarers Club in Cochin, I used to manage. And this is a self-taught hobby which I pursued, including server management. Talking about my parent organization, we have a rich heritage. I just want to give a brief introduction. 2025 was special in two aspects. The first aspect is what is presented in this slide. I will come to the second aspect later. We had a 75 years celebration. And in between 1949 and 2000, we adopted technology. I remember the days when we used to stand in front of the Mercantile Marine Department, early morning, maybe 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and I'm on the other side of things now, where the cadets are now giving the oral examinations from their home. So there has been a marked difference on how technology has been used to, push the seafaring forward. And I especially would not take the credit myself, but it is the seniors who have been there, who have held charge before me. So in a way, I am quite privileged that my former boss, Malini Madam, is here with me, the former Director General of Shipping. And another secret, one of the reasons I joined Sea was I thought I wouldn't have to study any further. And unfortunately, the amount of studies I have done, I think I would have got 2 PhD by now. And but I have been very lucky that I have had mentors all throughout my seafaring, including Malini Madam, who was my former Director General, but as the VC of IMU, where I am pursuing my PhD. I am actually doing my PhD now. 75 years, a big honor for us. A lot of things have transpired. We had a year of celebration, a lot of events. I would request all you cadets who are out there, please go through our social media channels. And it's a very important engagement for us. We are able to connect to you, and you are able to connect to us. Moving to my next slide, what DG Shipping does, I think almost everybody in the room is aware of. I will not touch upon that, and as we are a little short on time, but I'll talk about the second important event in this year, which was these 4 legislations which came out. And most importantly, the Merchant Shipping Act and the Coastal Shipping Act, which is very relevant in your context. Merchant Shipping Act is very relevant, especially I see a lot of cadets because the examination or in terms of how shipping we have envisaged in a forward-thinking manner to embrace the future of shipping. That's what's been done in Merchant Shipping Act. And I would like to try and bring into context on what we have done in the direct trade in terms of technology. And that's how my next presentations are structured. So in DG Shipping, like I mentioned, we used to stand in line because the documentation and everything was physical. Now it has transpired to an e-governance system, which is an old legacy system, something we developed somewhere in, I think, 2005 or 6. And subsequently, it is still something which is continued to. So if today you are able to revalidate your COC and you get your sticker at home, it's because the old system is still existing. But the system as lived is usage, and we need to move forward. So we have started working on a series of digital transformations, and first and foremost is based on what is required. When we are talking about a circular economy, we have the green shipping, the shipbuilding, and the ship recycling. Everything we have started moving onto a software-based platform. We have something called the shipbuilding financial assistance. the security which is taken over by this technology which we are coming through, bringing in geospatial platforms, the cyber security compliance requirements. We have something called the grievance redressal module which is going to come. It's a work in progress. And finally, last but not the least, we have something called the long range identification and tracking, a system which is embedded into our 24/7 DGCOM center, where any seafarer or casualty or security related response takes place. What is the objective of our e-Samudra? That's the platform which we are talking about. And e-Samudra is something which we have already embedded. 4 of the modules are already activated. Any time there is an interface between the government and the external stakeholder, it will be through this platform. It is a platform you would never need to reach out to us. The initial transfer of from the earlier stack to current stack, we have already embedded 4 modules, which is the multimodal transport operators module. We have the licensing chartering module. We also have the shipbuilding financial assistance and assistance policy, which we have brought in terms of the Maritime India Vision, Maritime Amritkal Vision, to make India one of the top 5 shipbuilding nations, in giving a subsidy to make it on par with any country outside where shipbuilding is a cheaper prospect. I will not be going detailed into the modules, just for your reference, but moving ahead, the most important module which I just wanted to discuss, and of which the pilot project we have already done in Noida, is the examination. So like I mentioned earlier, we were doing everything physical. We have now in Noida embedded systems. Eventually, we are looking at having examination, a mix of both objective and subjective. The oral examination is already through MS Teams, which will be taken over by this platform. We would also have the EGDIS embedded in the system. So chart work will come into this software. And moreover, we are also looking at cloud-based simulator, so that when you go for your next oral examination, you would be going through a module where you will have to do a kind of a simulator-based examination, which will be a combination of objective and situation-based. For example, if you're on the nautical side, you will have the ROR, and you will have the cards and signal flags, and then on you will be transferred to an examiner. So these are certain new efforts which we have brought in. It is trying to make you more advanced. Indian seafarers are currently 12% of the total, and number 3 in ranking among the world. And we are trying to bring it to number 1, more than 20%. The biggest strength of the Indian seafarers is how strong, resilient, and good they are in terms of their commitment. I would close my presentation by briefly mentioning an experience which I have had in terms of the knowledge and skills the Indian seafarers have. As part of my role in DG Shipping, I am also looking after the security, the maritime security. And 2024 was a year which was very challenging. Why? Because 2023 November, we had the Israel-Hamas conflict, which led over to a spillover into the shipping. We had projectiles and drones being used to attack shipping. And the first casualty in this regard was a car carrier. If you go onto the sea, you will see a televised video of a ship being captured by Houthi rebels. It was kept into custody 1 year. Similar, 2024, we had a spate of incidents. And one specific incident which I would especially like to bring to your attention is an incident of a vessel called Marlin Rwanda. In 2024, this incident happened. Master was Indian, all Indian crew. A projectile hit, the cargo was naphtha, there was a fire on board, and the fire started burning somewhere early morning hours. Around 1 o'clock, we got an information saying that there's been an incident. We informed, because through the DGCOM center, we coordinate with the navies. we coordinated with the Indian Navy. Unfortunately, Indian Navy naval vessel was not the closest one in the region. There was French and other naval vessels, which went and supplied them firefighting equipment. Naphtha is a fire which is not very easy to extinguish, and there was a puncture in the tank. And they were fighting the fire, the crew were fighting the fire throughout the night. Eventually, by morning time, they were totally fatigued and they were very concerned in terms of the fire spreading and structural integrity getting affected. By morning, the naval vessel had come to a close proximity so as for them to make a boarding attempt. And we all agreed that the CBDT team, which is the firefighting specialist, will go on board. They, in coordination with the seafarers and the master on board, they went. Eventually, the fire was put out. And what happened was the ship was saved, and it's history. So, when you hear of these things and this kind of resilience, it's because of the skill of the Indian seafarers, the name they make for themselves. So I would like you all to give a huge round of applause to the seafarers. And a lot of credit of it goes to all the maritime institutes, the mentorship which are giving. And I would also like to comment on the Simba program, which Captain Shaukat has launched in this particular event. Things like this is what drives our seafarers forward. What happened subsequent to that? The International Maritime Organization recognized the efforts of the seafarers and awarded them the IMO Bravery Award for 2024. So that's what is important. That's what the seafarers of India are about. Thank you. I would like to specially take this opportunity to thank Captain Shaukat. I would also like to convey congrats on the 5th year, and I look forward to a very successful year again. Thank you.
I would request you, sir, to please be on the stage, and to give the token of appreciation, I would request former CMD of SCI, Sabisatri Hadra, sir, to please give away the token of appreciation. Can we have a huge round of applause, everybody?